Today on Rappler. The Bureau of Immigration confirms the alleged gunmen in the Bondi Beach mass shooting visited the Philippines. Ombudsman Boying Remulla targets fugitives from justice at the United Nations Anti-Corruption Summit. The U.S. State Department condemns China for using water cannons on Filipino fisherfolk. U.S. President Donald Trump sues the BBC for defamation over edited clips of his January 6th speech. And rowers Joanie Delgaco and Kristine Paraon capture the country's 26th gold medal in the 2025 SEA Games. The Bureau of Immigration confirms the two alleged gunmen behind the Bondi Beach mass shooting in Australia visited the Philippines in November. A spokesperson says Tuesday, December 16, the suspects flew in from Sydney to Manila and on to Davao on November 1. They flew out of Davao via Manila to Sydney on November 28. 50-year-old Sajid Akram and his 24-year-old son Navid Akram opened fire at Sydney's Bondi Beach on Monday, December 15. 16 people were killed, including Sajid. It was Australia's worst mass shooting in 30 years. Philippine authorities say Sajid was an Indian national and Australian resident and traveled on an Indian passport. Navid is an Australian national and used an Australian passport to enter the Philippines. Australian police say the two were inspired by the Islamic State terror group, which has affiliates operating in the Mindanao region. Ombudsman Boying Remulla leads the Philippine delegation to the biennial high-level session of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Remulla says in his speech during the 11th session of the Conference of the States Parties to the UNCAC,
"Corruption affects public safety, economic growth, and democratic trust. No country can address corruption alone. We welcome deeper cooperation in asset recovery, procurement transparency, information sharing, and countering cross-border and technology-enabled corruption."
As the flood control corruption scandal continues to erode public trust, Remulla tells Rappler the conference offers a chance to coordinate with other countries where fugitives may hide. He says one of them is Zaldi Ko, who was recently declared a fugitive from justice by the Sandigan Bayan. But Remulla also said there are still others who will escape, adding, quote, "That's why you should look forward to that scenario. If we go here, that's our strategy." COSP 11 brings together representatives of 192 governments that ratified the UNCAC, anti-corruption advocates from civil society, media, and the private sector. The U.S. State Department condemns China after it used water cannons against Filipino fisherfolk and cut their anchor lines in the West Philippine Sea. State Department Deputy Spokesperson Tommy Pigot says China's aggressive actions endangered Filipino fishermen and undermined regional stability. Washington's envoy to Manila, Ambassador Mary Kay Carlson, also hit China for threatening the lives of Filipino fisherfolk. Canadian Ambassador to the Philippines David Hartman, Australian Ambassador to the Philippines Mark Innes Brown, Japan's envoy to the Philippines Endo Kazuya also expressed concern about the Chinese Coast Guard's aggressive actions against Philippine fishers. The European Union says China's actions threaten the safety of life at sea, causing injury to civilians and undermine the lawful exercise of maritime rights. This is the first time Filipino fisherfolk were directly hit with water cannons by Chinese vessels. U.S. President Donald Trump sues the BBC for defamation over edited clips of a speech. Trump accuses Britain's publicly owned broadcaster of defaming him by splicing together parts of a January 6, 2021 speech. This includes one section where he told supporters to march on the Capitol and another where he said, "Fight like hell." It omitted a section in which he called for peaceful protest. The BBC has apologized to Trump, admitting an error of judgment and saying the edit wrongly implied he called for violence, but maintained there is no legal basis for a lawsuit. In his lawsuit, Trump says the BBC, despite its apology, has made no showing of actual remorse for its wrongdoing nor meaningful institutional changes to prevent future journalistic abuses. Rowers Joanie Delgaco and Kristine Paraon captured the Philippines' 26th gold medal in the 2025 Southeast Asian Games. They ruled the women's double sculls at the Royal Thai Navy Rowing and Canoeing Training Center on Tuesday, December 16. The Filipina tandem topped the final with a time of 8 minutes and 16.976 seconds to beat out local bets.
Actually po, kagabi iniisip po namin na nakikita po namin parang kahirapan po yung bronze eh. Pero sabi ko sa sarili ko nung bago ako matulog kagabi, grabe talaga pag si Lord na yung gumalaw talaga. Walang imposible talaga.
Delgaco previously won SEA Games gold in the women's lightweight double sculls with Melka Jen Caballero at the 2019 Philippines edition.
Di po namin na-expect tong gold namin po kasi po malalakas din po yung mga kalaban namin po. Pero po tiwala po talaga sa isa't isa tsaka alam naman po namin ang mga pinagdanat po naming training.
The Philippines produced 2 rowing medals on Tuesday, the other one coming from another Olympian in Chris Nievares, who clinched the bronze in the men's single sculls. And that's today's wrap. I'm JC Gotinga. Thank you for watching. Click the link below for the full story. For more updates, download the Rappler app.